Hello, welcome to the Quakes Motel. My name's Conan, I'm the concierge. Today I'm going to show you a couple of tips on finding that secret frequency in your kick drums. It's not really that secret. Let's jump in. Okay, so I'm not going to go massively deeply into how sound works, but on a basic level, every sound has a fundamental frequency, and that's basically the lowest frequency in that sound. With kick drums, it tends to be really down low, below 100 hertz. Before we get into it, what I want to say is this. Don't copy numbers. Don't copy what I'm showing you exactly here, because every single sound has a different fundamental frequency. What I'm going to do today is just show you how to kind of home in on that. So then you can then make a choice whether you want to boost it or attenuate it or do whatever you want to do with it. But today is not going to be a video saying this is the right frequency. This is the exact frequency which you should boost if you want your kick drums to go boom. That's not what this is about. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to find that frequency and teach you a little bit about fundamental frequencies and its overtones, etc. So I've got a couple of kick drums here in the MPC. I've put a couple in because what I want to show you is that not every single kick drum has exactly the same frequency, fundamental frequency. And that goes on from what I was saying, that you don't pick a particular number that somebody says online. I see a lot of people say you must boost kicks at 60 hertz. Well, every single kick's different. So that's ridiculous. So the reason why I've got a couple of kicks is just to show you that they are slightly different. Now, the fundamental frequency, I'll just show you here in Pro Q3. In the MPC software, the fundamental frequency tends to live around here on a kick drum. It can be between 50 hertz, 75 hertz, but that's not always the case. It depends on what kick drum you're using. But generally, the kick drums that you're going to come up against in house, boom bap, etc., is going to be in that kind of area. So it's going to be round about here on this one, which is about 60. This one's a bit tighter, so this is just over 60. And that one is even tighter and is up kind of around about the 70 hertz area. But again, use your ears. You can use a visual reference, but don't, just think, right, well, it's exactly 60 or it's exactly 65. This is what I need to home in on, because I'm going to go into more about that in a second. But that's really where your fundamental frequency is. And these other frequencies that are happening up here are called overtones or harmonics. And you can see they're a lot smaller. And I'll explain that in a second as well. But this is what we're going to be looking at today, the fundamental frequency. Okay, so now jumping into air power EQ, I've got this at track level, not pad level, so I can just do it quickly and easy. But air power EQ it's the EQ I tend to use in the MPC when I'm doing something like this, but there's multiple EQs in there that you can use. But this is just the easiest way to show you, because it's a bit more visually friendly than the other ones, the older style EQs that are in the MPC. So we're looking at this low end here. Now, first thing I'm going to talk about first is shelf and bell, and also the low cut. Now, I tend to put a low cut on and go down to around about 20, which is not on that one. Let's just do it with that, just makes it easier. Between 20 and 25, I tend to just low cut anyway, because there might be some rumble in there. There might be some real subs that you don't really want. It's not something that I do every single time, but I tend to do it on kicks. You know what I always say, don't do anything by default. But just in this case, that's what we'll do. Also, another reason that I tend to do that is because I tend to sample off vinyl quite a lot, and you'll have a very low rumble frequency that you just don't really want in there, because it just muddies things up and it gives you less headroom, etc. So I tend to do that. So that's in your low cut, around about 25 hertz, and you can just leave that. And then we're going to go into the lows, and I'm going to show you what you need to think about when you're doing this. Now, again, like I said, do not copy the numbers. This is I just want to explain to you what you need to think about to actually go and do this. That's the whole point of most of my tutorials. So I want you to think. I don't want you to just copy the numbers. So we're going to boost the low end. Okay, we're not going to talk about any of the overtones and harmonics today. It's just about the low end. Now, I said on this one that the fundamental frequency is around about 60. Now, the difference between shelf and bell here. Now, if we were to use shelf, anything below 100 hertz is going to get boosted or attenuated, but it's going to be on a shelf, like that kind of shape, basically, straight line. And you don't really want to do that, because what you're going to be doing if you boost a shelf on a kick drum, for instance, is you're going to be bringing up all of the low end that you don't want to be bringing up. Anything below the fundamental frequency, rumble, like I said, from vinyl, noise, if you've recorded it in a studio, just anything like that, you don't really want that there. I mean, I'm not saying don't have it there. If you want it there, by all means have it, use a shelf. But normally I would use a bell, because what I want to do is I want to kind of home in on the fundamental frequency and just boost that area. So we're going to go for bell. And the next thing you want to look at here is Q. And you see, when you come out of shelf, you'll see that the Q changes. Now what the Q is basically the width, the size of the bell that you're boosting. Now the lower the number, the bigger the bell. The higher the number, the tighter the bell. Now, again, without going into too much explanation about sound, etc., with bass sounds, the frequencies, the shape of the wave tends to be bigger. It's really difficult to explain this without going into it deeply. And the fundamental, as you could see in what I showed on Pro Q3, is obviously the bigger one. So you want quite a wide Q. There's no point in boosting a narrow Q on a fundamental frequency on a kick drum, because it's just not really going to do anything. You're probably going to be boosting an annoying resonant frequency and it's not going to sound very good. So you want it quite wide. Now, visually, there's no reference here, but round about 1 is going to be okay. It's going to be quite a wide bell. It's a very broad stroke bell. In on-air power EQ, I could show you in plug-in Doctor, but just trust me on this one, I know that. If I was to go all the way up to 10, I would be having a really, really tight, like pin-shaped kind of boost on the bell, which is not going to do anything, because like I said, that fundamental frequency is quite big and round and large. So we want to go down. You could even go lower if you want. Then this is where we're going to set what frequency we're going to be boosting. So it's fundamental. We said it's around about 60. So we can go there to start with. And then we want to start boosting things. Now I'm going to overboost it so you can hear it on YouTube. And you're probably going to have good speakers or a pair of headphones on to really hear the difference here. But you can hear from that, what I've done is I've boosted the fundamental, and I haven't really touched any of the overtones, the kind of clicky sound, the high end that's in the kick, etc., which you'd get from kicks as well, because it's not just all low end if you haven't put any filters on the high end, on the highs rather. So you can hear there that it's not touched the highs, it's just boosted that bell, that fundamental frequency, by homing in with a broad stroke bell and boosting it round about where its fundamental is. Now again, you know, you can play around with that. It doesn't have to be, you see, up to 75 still sounds pretty decent. But if I start going up into the hundreds, 200s, I'm not going to be boosting the low end, I'm going to be boosting the mud. I'm going to be boosting the second harmonic, basically. And that does tend to be quite muddy in a kick drum, which is you don't really want to do. And what you'd also be doing is you'd be boosting an area of the low end, which is going to clash with your bass lines, with the lowest part frequencies, the fundamental of a male vocal, for instance, if you're working with a male vocalist, and other instruments as well. So you don't really want to fill up that muddy area. So keep it down on the fundamental. What I would probably do, I don't want to go into it too much because it's going off topic, but I would probably attenuate around about 200 to 280 to get rid of that mud on the kick drum. But we're just looking at the fundamental today. So on that one, it was around about 60, 62. That sounded nice. Makes a major difference. This nice power EQ is really nice. It's really like an SSL. You can really push it and it doesn't sound crap. It still sounds decent. So on the next kick, I think the fundamental was a bit higher. So again there, you can hear it's not touching the overtones, the harmonics, the second, third, etc. harmonics. It's just boosting the fundamental frequency. And again, you know, you can home in if you want to have a little bit of a tighter bell. For instance, see what happens on this one if I make the bell narrower. See, I've got 9 decibels of boost on the fundamental frequency, but the Q is at 10, so there's nothing happening. By broadening the size of the bell, making it bigger rather than tighter, that's where you're going to get your boost in the low end. And then Finally, the last one I think was around about 75 as well. So see, there you go, around about 75. Again, I'm using visual, but I am also using my ears to close my eyes, you know. That sounds about good. So I was a little bit off, but that could be my earphones, that could be the time of day, it could be a bunch of different things. Or it could just be that I've got the bell so wide that I'm not really noticing very much of a difference. If I had it narrower, I probably would. I'm trying to talk my way out of this now, aren't I? Anyway, so there you go. So there you have it, real quick explanation on how to boost the fundamental in a kick drum. But what I'm hoping that showed you is if you do just home in on the fundamental of the kick drum, you do just boost that low end area that you want to give that real oomph to the kick drum. Now, don't just think that you can just boost that low end, because as you heard on those kick drums, there were overtones, harmonics that were happening further up, 400, 800, 1600, all the way up into 7K. So you can also manipulate the frequencies with EQ in that area as well. But today what I wanted to show you is how to get that real oomph in the low end. And the best way to do it, the best way that I found of doing it over the last 40 or so years, is to home in on the fundamental frequency, make a quite broad bell, and then just give that a bit of a boost. So thanks for watching. This is The Crates Motel. My name's Colin, I'm the concierge. Until next time.